I think anything that's worth doing, it takes hard work. And it doesn't even have to be about being an astronaut, right? It's really about setting a high goal, realizing that you can do more and accomplish more than you ever would have thought possible.
I'm very excited to be speaking with you today. I've actually just taught my own children about you. First off, True Colors. So I got a chance to preview your episode, which is so well done and it's so insightful, but also what an amazing series to put together. And I'm sure you can relate to the fact that, we didn't have anything like that when we were growing up, and it's so cool for something like that to focus on notable Latinx and Hispanic figures.
I was really, really glad that they came up with the idea for this series, and then that they previewed people from a variety of different areas, right? Sport,
absolutely.
Politics, entertainment, and I'm really glad they included somebody with a math and science background, because we don't often hear about that.
For sure. I think the selection of people they chose is really diverse and inspiring for kids especially. To be able to see that. I mean, all of us, you guys make all of us proud, but I'm happy to be able to show my own kids those episodes. And we all know that you've made history as the first Hispanic woman to travel to space. It's still, all these years later, absolutely amazing and astonishing, to think that. What would you tell our readers about working hard and achieving their dreams, and even maybe how they can instill those values in their own children?
Well, part of it is the realization that, I had no idea when I was young that this was something that I would grow up to be able to do and to actually do. So, but what led to it? Well, certainly my educational background. So, taking your education seriously, and of course in high school, taking science and math classes is important. Thinking about college and what you can do there, and hard work, perseverance, and I think anything that's worth doing, it takes hard work, right?
Absolutely.
And so I don't think this is any different than other things that you might think about. And sure, it is hard sometimes, but like I say, you really have to work at anything that is really worth doing.
How important is it to you to represent your Mexican heritage in your career and as a public figure?
Well, what it's really given me the opportunity to do is talk to students all over the country. I mean, I've given literally hundreds of talks. The vast majority are at schools with high Hispanic populations, after school or extracurricular programs that are trying to interest either girls or Hispanic students into considering science and engineering. Because at that age, just like me, I didn't know any scientists or engineers. I couldn't really conceive of what it meant to maybe study that, and then what that might mean for what my life would look like or what a career would look like.
What would you say are some of the biggest driving forces that can help girls get into the STEM and STEAM fields?
Well, I think a lot of times it does depend on having some kind of hands-on activities, particularly by the time they're in middle school.
Okay.
Because in high school, you do have that opportunity to choose some of the classes that you take, right?
Right.
And so if you haven't sort of been inspired to further explore science or math, unfortunately, too many people opt out in high school in terms of taking anything more than what's absolutely required. If you've had some opportunity to do some hands-on experiments, and that can include coding as well, but something that is meaningful to you, where you're not just reading in a book or you're not just memorizing facts. What's important is, curiosity, creativity, working with a team. That's not the words that I associated with scientists when I was, and yet that's what really is important. And being able to have some kind of mentor, I think, is really important as well.
Is there something that you would say is a lesson personally that you've learned from your experiences here?
Gosh, I learned so much, but I always tell students that in addition to studying math and science, one of the really important things for succeeding as an astronaut, as well as in many other roles, is teamwork. And what that really involves in, number one, you're always trying to better your own skills, right? Whatever it is that you're working on to increase your skill, but to also be thinking of the overall goal of that group, whether it's human spaceflight, whether it's a sports team, music group, a group that's trying to change laws in this country. What are the overall goals, and looking at your own role within that group and trying to be the best teammate that you can be. And that certainly is something that I learned in the astronaut office that I think has served me well.
I agree, for sure. So to get into more timely matters, Kamala Harris obviously has just made history as the first female vice president-elect. It's such an important time for women right now. And, you being in your field and achieving what you have, you've been a pioneer in that as well. How do you feel about her victory?
Oh, it's really exciting. And I think, just like I've had the opportunity to reach out to a variety of audiences, because her role is so visible, so many kids, little girls, but, I'll tell you, I get a lot of letters from boys as well, just because, space is exciting and they want to understand how I got into it. And I think the same thing is going to happen. Vice president role is so visible that it's going to inspire a lot of kids, all different kinds of kids, to really think about, setting up a different goal for themselves as they get older.
What legacy would you hope to leave behind for Latinx and Hispanic children?
Well, really, that anything is possible. I would not have thought about becoming an astronaut when I was young. So I want other people to think about what they could do. And if somehow seeing me in this role and what I've gotten to be able to do encourages or inspires other kids, and it doesn't even have to be about being an astronaut, right? It's really about setting a high goal, realizing that you can do more and accomplish more than you ever would have thought possible.